streaming button. You should be live.
All right, Tony LaBerge here with Zimbrick Audi, live and rolling with you in the 2019 Audi A6. Now, we're driving this car today to test out one of the newest driver's assist systems with Audi. It is called Predictive Control, and it is part of their full driver assistance package. So that's going to include your radar-based cruise control and your active lane keeping. Predictive Control. Tony LaBerge here with Zimbrick Audi, live and... There we go. Off a little feedback on the mic. All right, let's get going. I'm gonna pop my seatbelt on here. Let's get moving. So I've already got our driver's assist systems all ready. That's how I drive, with all of them on, because I hate driving and it takes a lot of the stress out of it for me. So I use it all the time. I'm always in cruise control, whether I'm going 25 miles an hour in the city or whatever the speed limit is on the highway. Just leaving our current Audi facility. Going to be driving past our new facility that'll be opening up December of this year, the former Zimbrick BMW store. Excited for that. Going to have a standalone facility, so just Audis for the whole store. Yeah, see if you can get a shot of that.
Yeah, it's right there.
We got our Audis parked out front. We still got the Zimbrick BMW sign on. They're starting to gut the place. We've got some random Mercedes trucks parked there for now, but that'll all end shortly. We'll just get Audis on the lot for all of our Audi clientele. All right, so I'm gonna pop it into cruise control. So first off, I have it set to remember my following distance. I always have it set to the shortest following distance because they give you different options depending on what kind of a driver you are. Now, it's always going to vary the following distance based on the speed you're going, so it's not like a set distance, but I have it tuned up to be like the shortest as possible, and I still find that to be a little longer, but I guess it's safe, you know. It's definitely longer than most aggressive drivers would be, but it's good because you don't do any tailgating, and it's close enough that you don't have people like cutting in line, cutting into you when you have a traffic jam. It's a pretty good in between. So that's the radar cruise control, and then we also have the active lane keeping, which is going to use the camera mounted in the windshield to watch for painted lines. Now, unfortunately, down here in South Central Wisconsin, we don't always have the nicest painted lines. So like right now, it's picking me up my left line. I'm not getting a right line. And then, here we go, yeah. And then it'll come on and off as it picks up the lines. And you'll see that down here. Whenever it's green, that means it's tracking the line. So it's gonna give you your active lane keeping. So right now I've got a left one on pretty solid, and I've got my right one coming and going as it finds it and loses it. And then I've got my cruise control set right now to 57, and that also indicates it up in my speedometer right here. And then, of course, the red needle is going to be what we're actually going. So right now we're following behind a truck, and we're going about 43 and keeping a safe following distance, even though I have it set to 57. Now, that's pretty common for cruise control, these active radar cruise control systems. What's nice about this one is it'll take you to a dead stop. It'll go in stop and go traffic. And it does a really good job of it. It's not all over the road. The active lane keeping is very fluid. You know, there's some systems that basically is like bumper cars, where you go bounce off the left lane, bounce off the right lane, back and forth. And then there's other ones that, like, if you're sensitive to steering corrections like I am, they make you sick because they're like all over the place. They're like left, right, left, right, left, right to try to keep you in your lane. So this new generation of Audi system is the best one I've seen so far. It really does a good job of keeping you in your lane, but with just gentle, you know, gradual steering corrections like I'm used to as, you know, a human doing myself. All right, so we're going to be coming up on some roundabouts here. Now, this is what's really neat about Predictive Control. They're a little ways up there, so you might not catch them yet. But when I have it in cruise control, I'm going to have it set to, let's say, like 37 right here in a 30-mile-per-hour speed limit. Once we get to these roundabouts, it's going to automatically slow me down to a safe speed to take the roundabout at. So I don't have to do any braking myself. The cruise control is all going to do that for me based on your navigation system and what it has loaded up for intersections. Now it'll also do that at stop intersections too. So four-way stops, T intersections, it'll just slow you down. So when you get to the intersection, all you have to do essentially at like a stop sign is just at the very end, just rest your foot on the brake, because the vehicle has already brought you down to like 15 miles per hour or so. So right now I've got the green road indicator on my speedometer. Oh, there it goes. Because I came up to the T, or excuse me, the roundabout, and it slowed me down. So let's try to get one of those again so you can get a feel for it. Now the roundabouts, it lets you take a little bit quicker than 15 like the stop signs, because it's an Audi and you can take it faster, so it'll let you. But so some people are like, they're not comfortable with these systems. They're like, I want to do the driving. Well, it's very easy. When you want to brake more, and if it's slowing you down too much, give it gas. So right here it's slowing me down again through the roundabout, and then out again. All right, let's see if we can find a nice stop sign intersection to use this Predictive Control app. Now another thing that'll do is if you're in navigation and you've got turns coming up, it's going to automatically slow you down for turns. And if it's a really sharp curve that you come up on as well, it's also going to slow you down. Now a lot of the times with the slow curves I end up giving it gas, but it's real fluid. As soon as it starts slowing you down, you don't want it. You just give it gas and it kicks it off, and as soon as you let off on the gas, it'll go back to normal. All right, so we're coming up on a stop sign right now, and I've got my road indicator on, so it's going to be slowing me down for this intersection. I'm not doing anything yet. We're dropping from 58, and right here. I'm going to pop it back into cruise. We got a nice 55-mile-per-hour country road. So I'm going to show you some other things. If you want to dial in on the MMI screen right here, I just have the settings brought up so you can see some of the different options that are part of the driver assist system. So distance warning, that's pretty common nowadays. You're going to find that standard on all of our new Audi products. That's going to alert you if you're closing in too rapidly on a following vehicle. It's just going to give you a visual and audible indicator that, hey, look up, because you're closing in rapidly, you might rear end somebody. And then it'll do some things to get you ready to brake. It'll pre-charge the brakes. There we go. It was warning us that we were getting a little bit too close to that cement truck. Little indicator there. Pre-sense, that's going to do some things to get you ready for a crash. If it thinks you're going to crash, it's going to tighten your seat belts. It's going to put your windows up. It's going to close the sunroof. It'll put your seat in an upright position, basically to get you as ready for a crash as possible, so that if you do get into an accident, hopefully you don't get ejected or something like that. We've got side assist next. We've had that for many years. That's a great system. You've got amber indicators in your mirrors that will light up when somebody's in your blind spot. Now, a lot of manufacturers have blind spot systems. Ours is not a blind spot system. It's called side assist, and there's a reason for that. It's different. What happens is, it lights up when somebody's there. And then if they start to close in on you, or you start to close in on them, it's going to flash at you rapidly to let you know that there's somebody there. Now, how's that different? Well, we never had to use our signal in that case. We never had to use our turn signal. Obviously, I still recommend you use your turn signal, but our system does not need it to be activated like most systems on the market today. that require that you use your turn signal before the system will beep or flash at you to let you know that you're going to have a collision. Okay, intersection assist, that's the next one up. That's pretty neat. I've had this happen a few times. So you're going up to an intersection and you've got cars coming through, and it'll see that. So you're about to pull out into the intersection and it'll see the car coming from your side. So it'll hit the brakes so you don't go out into the intersection and get T-boned. A couple close calls with that I had. That was great. It just intervened and it kept me from shooting out into traffic. Now it also does it when you have cars oncoming, so like a 2-lane, when you want to take a left and there's oncoming traffic, it'll stop you from hitting it and pulling out in front of that other car. Excuse me. So I'm going to put it in cruise. Now one thing about this system is it does have a laser sensor on the front. So it's a little bit farther shooting than a lot of these systems that have just radar. And the nice thing about that is if you come up on a stationary car, depending on your speed, sometimes it can pick it up and it'll slow you down in a nice, comfortable manner. And so you don't have to intervene even when you're coming up on stop traffic. Traditionally, these systems are not going to stop you in time if you have a car that's parked in the road. So that's it for our drive today. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and please check the comments section for links to other videos that we have, more on the Audi A6, other Audi models, and some of our other driver's assistance systems that are available.